call the meeting to order. Roll call. Jones here. Weiler here.
Reyes here.
Church here.
Johnner here.
Okay, we have a quorum. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Need a motion to approve the agenda or amend. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda for this next meeting as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Clerk Buchanan, would you please confirm that the town has followed the requirements of the open meeting law for public participation?
Yes, we have.
Excellent. So the first thing on the agenda is minutes. Are there,
I have a spelling typo under the planning commission report. James Chesebro is Chesebero.
two E's?
No, not just one.
An E after the S. I provided comments to the minutes. I'm trying to prep for the consent agenda.
Yeah, Michelle did as well.
Excellent. Any other comments? Okay, do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
Make a motion to approve the meeting minutes, with, the changes presented.
Second.
May I be recognized? I think the motion needs to specify which minutes you're approving. If we're doing a group of minutes, you have to identify the meeting minutes
In the motion.
in the motion.
So who started that one? Is
Joe did.
that
John.
John? So you got-
Motion to approve the minutes from the previous town board session with the amended changes.
And the parts.
Parks Committee
Committee.
minutes.
And the Parks Committee and the Planning Commission and special,
Board of Review.
and Board of Review,
And
and town administrator.
March third, May seventh, planning commission, I'm sorry, March third, parks.
Okay.
May seventh, planning commission, May twelfth, board of review, and May twelfth, regular town board.
Got it.
So someone make a motion with those dates and minutes referenced.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the following minutes. The Parks Committee meeting on March third, the Planning Commission meeting on May seventh, the Board of Review on May twelfth, and the Town Board meeting of May twelfth as well.
Okay, before there's a vote on that, can we have John rescind his prior motion?
I rescind my previous motion.
I will second Supervisor Church's motion.
I think we have to second John's motion.
Oh.
To rescind, yes,
And Mark had seconded it.
I'll second it. I'll second the rescind.
Yeah.
Okay.
You had seconded his original motion.
Right.
So now we have a second on me rescinding.
Yeah.
And so all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, ayes have it.
And I will second Supervisor Church's motion for the minutes.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So we're, minutes are passed. So now it's Clerk Buchanan.
Treasurer's report for May two thousand twenty-five, total receipts were $59,359.92. Transfers were $307,100.92. Interest earned for May was $212.61. Balance as of April 30th was $8,561.61. Total funds for May were $375,200. $234.56. Checks paid in May were $347,776.87, leaving a balance in the general checking account of $27,457.69. And boat lunch today was $15,291.50.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
I'll make a motion that we approve the Town of East Troy Treasurer's Report for May 2025 as presented.
All, yep, second by Reyes, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So the ayes have it, treasurer's report is approved. We then had the loan.
Are there any questions first about the court treasurer's report? An activity for May?
I didn't have it. Anybody else?
No.
I contacted several things, the board has, copies of the quotes in their package. Also included for just the board's view was the base breakdown for the borrowing for the 2025 budget, a copy of the town of East Troy debt schedule, and an amortization schedule that the ECPL has on. Total borrowing for 2025 will be $1,673,829. And I requested a 14-year quotes. Of the 3 quotes I received back, or 4 quotes actually, Citizens Bank at 14 years was 5.5%, and that's the low bid.
So we did have a, request for, a little more formal approach, so I was just gonna suggest that maybe in the future we could just send it out in writing, so we have timestamps and everything, and then we should be good to go. But, so do we have a motion?
I will make a motion that we use Citizens Bank. 14-year loan at 5.5% for the total borrowing of $1,673,829 for the 2025 budgeted borrowing.
I'll second. I'm sorry,
Who
who's
was
the
it,
second?
Barbara?
Barb.
Rock, paper, scissors.
So do you have that? I have, Jean?
Yeah.
So is it
Barb.
Barb?
Yep.
So any discussion?
Yes. Is that something, cause I know there was, I'm surprised by this.
Why are you surprised?
Well, it's a point better, that's great,
Yes,
than
it
the
is.
next
That
person.
is quite low, yeah.
So, there's no hidden fees or anything? We're good.
That has not traditionally been the case.
No, right, that's my question. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Attorney Mills will draft the borrowing resolution, as he always does. And that's the next thing on the agenda, for him to authorize to do that.
Lots of money.
So I had initially done, because the BCPL is kind of the standard, so the first amortization schedule I did was the 6.5% for 14 years, which was their rate. But then I did a second one with the 5.5 after I received the quotes, and that should save us quite a bit of money.
$145,173.15.
Yeah,
So.
excellent.
So,
Anybody
all
got
great
any
work.
other questions?
Anything else? Okay.
In the proposed borrowing summary there, I know you put it like asterisk, put off the fire district truck, but that's actually like a negative number there, right? It's not.
No,
I
it's
went through,
not.
it's not included in the total.
It's not included in the total.
It might have been nice to just have it marked.
Well,
Different
it's highlighted, it's, yeah.
different well, we did like,
I corrected mine, adding 35,000 with the 56,817 to the 231,183 that adds up to the 163, leaving the 989,885 out. So, yeah, I noticed the same thing.
Any more discussion? Ready to vote.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. We'll borrow.
6 B, need a motion?
Motion to authorize Attorney Mills to draft the borrowing resolution.
I'll make a motion that we authorize Attorney Mills to draft the borrowing resolution for the 2025 budgeted borrowing.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? So the ayes have it. So now we go to public comments. Please be advised that per state statute 19.84 sub 2, information may be received from the public, comments are limited to 4 minutes per period, per person. Be further advised that there will be no discussion on the information received and no action will be taken regarding public comments. Upon conclusion of the citizen participation segment, members of the audience are not allowed further comment unless they are participating in a public hearing, or if specifically allowed by a majority vote of the town board due to involvement in a specific agenda item. I specifically ask that we not deal with wake vote discussions tonight, because we're gonna try and consider the wake vote discussion again at the board level. And I think more information will come out during the meeting on all of this factor. Hopefully it'll be a little more clear why we're doing that. So with that, anyone have public comments?
Eric Jones, W4774 Overlook Drive, Elkhorn, Wisconsin. I'm just gonna do one quick thing before I get to my main thing is, and this is just a recommendation after being at a number of town boards. As a prior school administrator, one of my responsibilities when we prepared the agenda was preparing the motions for the board members. And whether it would be your town clerk or Attorney Mills, it just makes your meeting so much faster when you already have it written down in front of you as a recommended motion versus having the individual members having to come up on the fly and write your own recommendations. It probably took 20 minutes out of our meetings by me doing that ahead of time, prior to then having to correct and recorrect and overcorrect every time a board member wanted to make that recommendation. It's just something I learned to do as a school administrator. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Why I'm here, Eric Jones, and this goes back to September of 2024, and that was 9 months ago. So I'm not gonna rehash a lot of it. I did not know that I was actually gonna be on the agenda tonight. I did not know that I was gonna be on the annual meeting that was held, and I did not know even that this had already been voted on once before. And after talking to somebody who contacted me today, which was not my friend, I learned that part of the reasoning, and I sent a letter to everybody today. You probably didn't get it because I just found out about it, but if you got it, it was emailed to every board member. One of the things that came up as a concern was this unlimited issue, like, oh, there's no timelines, there's no restrictions or anything, or there's no deadline of the date of when this trial period. And I guess because I was actually listening to Attorney Mills and a few other people, it was like, well, a special permit can be taken away at any second. It can be done if something happened. I'm not a crazy pilot, and I'm a pretty safe pilot. And I don't really want to rehash everything about, there's no propellers in the water, so there's not an environmental factor. It takes up less water than any pontoon boat on this lake. It weighs 1,200 pounds. It's not making any noise as landing. It's not making noise on the lake except for about 20 seconds of taking off the lake. I am never going to land on any lake, nor have I ever done it in 11 years now that I have my seaplane rating. I'm never going to land on a lake that's going to be in danger of anybody, in danger of myself, in danger of anybody on that water or anybody on the shore. It is an extremely safe, conscientious activity that can be done safely. We have to follow the rules. I can't land if I'm within 500 foot of somebody. It's against the rules, against the law. Once I'm on the water, I am part of a watercraft. I follow the same identical rules as a watercraft does. And I can't be within, 500 feet of people, which is 500 feet of the shore, basically. So it's basically come down the middle and going and slow, no weight taxing up to, either, Tom and Deb's house or to another person who I don't know right now, but maybe I'll meet them, to visit them and then to leave. It's not gonna be any touch and goes. Touch and goes are not something I do. There is no training. I'm not doing any training. I'm not doing any sightseeing sightseeing tours. I counted last year, Lake Cheney was a huge lake, 6 times. That's all I landed on Lake Cheney last year. Como, 6 times. Delavan, 3 times. Those are big lakes. Those are lakes that are for training. Those are lakes that are also extremely busy. Would I ever go on the Lake Geneva on a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? Heck no. Would I ever come on the Lake Buell on Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Heck no. Would I ever be here on a holiday? Heck no. It's gonna be at a time that it's gonna be a normal mid-afternoon, early afternoon, late morning, visiting and out. It's not a problem. And I assume that means 1 minute or something, but, I can't stay for the meeting because I have another planning commission meeting to go to. So, but I just wanted to emphasize that the permit is something you guys can take away at any time. If anybody has a video of me doing something stupid or wants to say, hey, Eric, that was crazy, you got me done, I'm all for it.
We're at the end of 4 minutes.
I thought that was a minute left, I'm sorry. All right, thanks a lot. I appreciate the consideration, thank you.
Jeff Steinig, W 1969, Isle Road. I guess it's the same thing as the airplane. As a resident, I do not think I need to be looking up in the air to wonder if the plane is going to be landing on me. Number one. Number two, we have an airport 15 minutes away. If this was in Canada, in a remote area, maybe. We don't need an airplane causing another potential disruption on lake residents. Remember, we have an airport 15 minutes away.
Anyone else? Mr. Thompson?
Rich Faust, N9349 Woodfield Court. I just wanted to bring up tonight, I noticed on the board's nice, on the unfinished business, you're asking, Mr. Chairman, for authorization to interview the appointees for the new Lake and Shoreline Committee. And this is to address lake enhancement. I wanna know, how is that gonna be an unbiased committee if you're not including all the members of the board to do the interview? And we already know what side you're on. You showed that at the annual meeting. When you got up during the vote count and walked over to all the wake boat owners and sat there and talked to them and never acknowledged TLB members or management district members, you just sat and talked to them. And you also showed your hand when you didn't go by the vote. 128 people said ban enhancement. And now you're gonna do your own committee. And as a taxpayer, I would like to know, if you do this committee, where's the outline? Who are they gonna hire for the study? What property are they gonna use to look at shoreline damage? What are their expertise in this? There's companies out there that have been doing studies for a long time, and we've been sort of involved with them, and they've showed a lot, but you're gonna have 2 people from Beulah, 2 people from Potters, and 1 from Army, and they're gonna be the experts. But the least you should do is get all board members involved, and at the last meeting, Supervisor Leonard, he wanted the information from the study first before coming up with a committee. So at least wait for the time where all the information is together from the studies before you create a committee. This is a waste of money. And if you don't have a plan, an outline for us taxpayers to look at to say, well, this is what the committee's gonna do, you shouldn't have a committee. You gotta have a plan before you get the committee together. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Tom Van Bogart, W 2035 Beulah Heights Road, and I'm the president of Protect Lake Beulah. We had our spring membership meeting on the 17th of May. We had one board member present who participated in that meeting, and we thank that one person for doing so. On May 31st, we did a educational event where we talked about why Lake Beulah is special as a marl lake. We talked about sensitive areas, the history of them, why they're important, and what restrictions should be held because they're sensitive areas. And I felt that that was a very good topic for this board, given all of the work that's being done on the Stoss Marina and the fact that it sits in the middle of a sensitive area. And then lastly, we had a guest speaker talk about the risks of the decline of vegetation on Lake Beulah. And I was very disappointed that we did not have even a single person from the town board attend that educational session. John Stoss videotaped that. It's on his YouTube channel. I encourage you to watch those videos. They're very educational. Also, as part of our board meeting for the Lake Association, we talked about the board, and we feel that the board is not representing the mission of who we are, protecting Lake Beulah, demonstrating that they care about Lake Beulah. So what we've done is we've instituted and we're putting in place a scorecard where we're keeping track of all of the topics and how the board is voting and behavioral issues that we don't feel align with the mission of Protect Lake Beulah and a beautiful lake. So, some examples. We were very happy of those that showed up at our wake boat educational session. The board members engaged, they talked to people, they asked questions. We recorded who those board members were and wrote the positive stuff. As a negative, I'm gonna use you. So this goes back a ways because there was still ice on the lake. But Joe Johnner, with a couple of his friends, at 12:30 in the morning, called one of my board members and had a conversation as to why Lake Beulah should not be working to ban wake boats, but rather finding a way to work to allow wake surfing. The time was very inappropriate, the topic was inappropriate, and the way you approached it was inappropriate. So we're looking for board members that will represent Lake Beulah well, and we're recruiting candidates to run against the candidates that we feel are not doing their job in protecting Lake Beulah. So it is our role, our mission, our focus, and our passion is nothing more than protect Lake Beulah. And every conversation that we have here at this podium is a reflection of that. I was very put off when I was sitting in a chair here to witness the meeting, and I'm not going to call this person out, but somebody turned around and said, "You guys are relentless." And I have been coming to these board meetings my entire 10 years that I've been on the board. I used to be on the agenda on a monthly basis to give an update of what's happening on the lake. I was requested to stay an extra year on the board as the president because of this topic of wake surfing. And I feel like now I'm being dragged through the mud because I am trying to do nothing more than work with a group of people to do the right thing for Lake Beulah. So, you're gonna see and hear more on that. If you're not willing to have conversations with the people, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do community forums, and we're gonna invite guest speakers from coalitions, from experts across the state to talk about this topic. There's over 100,000 people in a coalition that are having very strong reasons to do this. So, sorry, I got very, very passionate, but I just wanted you to know where I stand, and I do appreciate the town support that we had in the past, and I hope that we can get there. And this is a copy of the binder of the topic talk about that all the other board members have. It's got a ton of information, I hope you take a look at it.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Lou Veruza, W1016 Sherwood Drive. I just would like to say that the agenda is clearly outlined. There'd be no discussion about wake boats. And that's been going the last couple of meetings. Yet the PLB continues to get up here and talk in a different way about wake boats. So I just ask that if you tell us no conversation about wake boats, it should be stopped. Yet they continue to have conversation about wake boats. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Go ahead.
Brian Fonz, N8680 Mooresville Road. First off, we're talking about committee and the board actions regarding protecting the lakes. And that's what I'm talking about. And from the standpoint of trying to make a decision on this, there's been a lot of information put out for 6-8 months. Binders, informational meetings, a lot of information. And I think the voters looked at a committee as this town board. You've been elected. You're supposed to take information, digest it, think about it, discuss it, and do something with it. So I don't understand this going to a committee on things, and you're gonna do what you want. And I do have concerns about you being in control of who you're gonna appoint in the committee. And, you know, PLB has worked really hard at putting information out there, educating about studies, impact on the lake, what boats are doing, not just Lake Beulah, but in general. These are different things. So, I know that the wake boaters talk about education, but I haven't seen anything. And in fact, the only thing we got was a mass mailer the day of the election, trying to mislead all the voters by misstating one of the questions on the ballot. And that I have a real concern about that as well. Because you can't be doing that and then we'll be looking to get on a committee to make a decision or to offer advice. Just hard to trust things like that. Anyway, that's all I have to say.
John?
North AD, 31 Bridge Road. I think what's paramount for this board is the protection of the lake. And there's been a strong influence going back 4 decades that the small organizational groups, the Lake Beulah Management District and the now Protect Lake Beulah group, they had a lock on controlling the town board for decades. Now, I've been out here since 1968 and seen a lot of different things come and go over the years. And when I was a youth in my early 20s, there were 7 places you could have a beer and a snack or a sandwich or look out the window and stare at the sailboats or whatever you want to do on this lake. And with the iron grip control that these few organizations have, it hasn't been very equitable to the public. Now, if you're a member of the yacht club and everything's great, you're over there having tea and crumpets and catching the game on TV and it's all wonderful. But there's a community out there, the public, the people, that have a right to use this lake. And the Public Water Trust doctrine was put in just for that reason, so that the people of Wisconsin can enjoy these beautiful assets. This isn't a closed lake, it's not a private lake. It needs to be shared, it needs to be respected, it needs to be protected. I agree to all that. But you can't control it to the point where only a few select individuals have access to it. It's just not right. I think it's rather disgusting that the Lake Beulah Management District is suing the town board because they couldn't strong arm and get their way when it comes to Act 67, and it comes to the people's access to the lake. The Lake Beulah Management District has a lot of money that could be put to better things like fish stocking, making fish habitat, maybe some areas where we can get moving water over rocks for walleyes to reproduce. That's the stuff they should focus on. They shouldn't be focusing on suing the town, because the town doesn't need to be dealing with a lawsuit, which is just ridiculous. You know, the county are the experts. They're all about the zoning officers, and they have the planners, and they have all the stuff there. If you wanna change what's going on, go down and lobby the county board to change the zoning book, because they control what happens.
Bob Rice, W884 Sherwood Drive. I'd like to address Protect Lake Beulah and the Management District. It's Protect Lake Beulah and Lake Beulah Management District. It's not Protect Town of East Troy. You guys have far overreached your authority in imposing your will on the other lakes that are in East Troy. You guys can stay on Lake Beulah and do what you want on Lake Beulah, but you guys have never came to Potter's Lake, who has an active management district, and asked to work with us and shown us your studies, but yet you're using your information to impose regulations on our lake. Totally inappropriate.
Anybody else?
Jesus, it's not ordinance, we have to vote.
John Becker, W 1958, Pastime Lane. The board now wants to do a study, and which will be administered by the chairman, and the personnel will be picked by the chairman, and this will be coming up shortly. The approval of this and the makeup of this does not include two dynamic organizations that are on Lake Beulah, Protect Lake Beulah and the Lake Beulah Management District. That's where the information is, that's where the expertise is, that's where the history is. They've done a lot, they have a lot, and they have the resources to handle such a situation like this. So I think it's important to work with them in coming up with a solution, since they have so many resources and they have such a background. There have been people on the board for many, many years that know the lake. There are other people here, such as Brian Fonz and the Protect Lake Beulah, that know the lake better than anyone. I mean, lake under the water, not above the water. So I think it behooves you to use those resources, and they're free, doesn't cost anything, and they can be very effective. I think to ignore these organizations is really an insult. You don't take advantage of it. Certainly they have everything it takes to go forward on that. While Lake Beulah is the dominant factor, all the lakes count. I think Lake Beulah can be a leader in this, since they have the size, they have the largest population of boats. No matter what type of boat, they have the largest population. So they can lead the way, not to belittle anything else that we have. But when you think of it, 2 people on the committee from Lake Beulah and 2 from Potter's Lake, that sort of imbalance there, since Beulah has so many more people. Army Lake, 1 person, I think there were 3 homes in Army Lake, sort of an imbalance, and they can be corrected there. So my advice is to take advantage of the resources that we have here. It's free, and people are willing to work. Work towards a solution, and I think we can do it that way. Thank you.
Anybody else? I guess we're moving